Hi everyone, thank you for joining us and welcome to Champ Chat. I'm Akila Doty.
And I'm MJ Rizzo. We are here to bring you news about what's been happening around campus, along with some national stories that may be impacting you. Akila, would you like to get us started?
I'd be honored. For this first segment, we'd like to highlight what's happened on campus this semester. If you're graduating this spring, listen up because this first story is especially relevant to you. On April 10th, seniors at Champlain attended the graduation fair. It's a fair where seniors get the opportunity to pick up their cap and gown, complete the exit survey for a career collaborative, and sign up for fun senior week activities. The fair also included raffles with lucky winners receiving free goodies and event passes. Later in the show, we'll be discussing the events held for Senior Week, so stay tuned for more.
A very big congratulations to all of the students graduating in just a few weeks. Student government hosted the Community Involvement Fair last Wednesday for students to explore opportunities for local involvement. Field reporter Jeff Gordon tells us more.
This past Wednesday, the Student Government Association hosted the Community Involvement Fair in the Champlain Room. The fair afforded students the opportunity to connect with local organizations across Vermont and learn about their goals and how students could get involved. Over 20 organizations participated in the event, allowing students to find the company that most closely aligned with their values and beliefs. SGA President Aidan Pearl talked a little bit about what went into getting these organizations to participate in the event.
Yeah, for us it was we had a nice little invitation. We explained what the event concept was, why we want students to attend. We reached out to over 70 organizations in total, about 25 signed up.
With over 20 organizations in attendance, each company was there to present their cause and discuss with students ways in which they can engage with their company. Andrew Christensen of King Street Laundry and Vermont Community Wash and Learn spoke about an event that took place on Saturday the 12th.
We have an exciting event this Saturday taking place at the King Street Laundry. This is going to be a first ever attempted event in which we're going to invite the community, including the Champlain College community, to come by and help create laundry bags or tote bags from repurposed or recycled fabric that they can either provide or we can provide.
The Community Involvement Fair was organized by Student Government Association members, and President of Champlain College, Alex Hernandez, is extremely happy with this event's turnout.
It looks great inside. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of animated conversations, and I think Champlain College, we think a lot about what does it mean to not just be ready, but to be ready to make a difference. And it's just fun to see so many students involved both in learning about these organizations, but also volunteering and sitting on the other side of the booths and helping get other students involved.
For many students, the fair was a reminder that college isn't just about academics, it's about community. And with events like this, the Student Government Association hopes to keep that spirit alive. For Champ Chat in Burlington, I'm Jeffrey Gordon.
There's a lot of great options for students looking to get involved. For any cybersecurity majors in the audience, a new partnership may be of interest. On April 10th, Champlain celebrated a long-awaited partnership with New Harbor Security at their new location in the Leahy Center. New Harbor is a cybersecurity firm based out of Colchester, protecting businesses from cyber attacks. The new partnership with Champlain is meant to be a gateway for cybersecurity students to get hands-on experience with their major. The Leahy Center's professional services manager, Zoltan Zaks, feels this is a key part of keeping students in state post-grad.
Very hard to keep students in Vermont, and this is one of the ways that we think we can do this by introducing them to companies that are doing work in Vermont.
In response to a state-backed initiative, the Cyber Start program was introduced. The dual enrollment program provides high school juniors and seniors with the opportunity to earn up to 12 college credits while receiving foundational cybersecurity training. If you're interested in Cyber Start, visit Vermont Cybersecurity Dual Enrollment to apply for fall of 2025.
We're moving on to our ski report, so let's cruise into a look at the slopes. It's been a strong ski season here in Vermont, where ski resorts across the state reported solid turnouts, especially after heavy snowfall in early February. Vermont saw upwards of 350 inches of snow this season, with resorts like Jay Peak and Smuggler's Notch seeing snowfall that well exceeded those totals. Turnout at skiing hotspots was successful, with numbers exceeding 3 million skier visits. With April showers now bringing May flowers, attention's shifting to summer tourism, with hiking and biking sure to take over the center stage.
Champlain College is making a change to one of its lesser utilized buildings. Aiken Hall, located right next to the Miller Information Center, has been utilized as a staff space since its previous renovation in 2009. But for this upcoming academic year, it's returning to its original usage as a residence hall. Kelsey O'Connor, Director of Residential Life and Student Engagement, offered into why the school is turning the building back into a dorm.
And the decision for that really comes from a larger strategic plan that's been going on for over a year now, about how to better utilize our spaces on campus and condensing our campus. And so because of that, we are relocating faculty offices and turning Aiken back into a residence hall. It really is a prime location for our students to be centrally located, student safety, student experience, all of that. Aiken Hall really couldn't be a better fit.
The renovations are set to be completed for the next academic year and will house 31 first-year students.
As we head into our break, stay tuned for national news stories and how they may be affecting you. We will be right back.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready! We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
But I don't want to not smile. Welcome back to Champ Chat. Colleges and universities around the country are grappling with the Trump administration's efforts to control what is taught on campuses. While many are making policy changes to conform to the Dear Colleague letter, there are some who decided to go in a different direction.
Harvard University is fighting back. The Ivy League president rejected the Trump's administration's terms and instead will file suit against the government, setting up for showdown. The American Association of University Professors joined the suit to block the Trump administration from blocking nearly $9 billion in federal funds to the school. Harvard said it received a letter from a federal task force earlier this month that outlined policy demands to continue the federal funding. One of the demands included eliminating the school's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and a ban on masks at protest. The suit alleges the Trump administration's actions violate the First Amendment and the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. A law professor at Harvard University stated that the First Amendment does not permit government officials to use the power of their office to silence critics and suppress speech they don't like.
A New England man who is a U.S. citizen said American border agents in Vermont detained him for several hours Sunday night as he and his wife were trying to return from Canada. Bashir Altala tells us more.
He just reached for his gun. He's like, "Step out of the vehicle right now." I said, "Okay, I'm stepping out."
Bashir Atala recounts the moments he says U.S. Customs and Border agents detained him and his wife for several hours Sunday night.
For no reason. And even if there was any reason that I don't know about, they didn't even share that reason with me.
Atala is a U.S. citizen. The couple was coming home after visiting family for Palm Sunday.
I was detained. I was not free to leave. Holding sense, no shoes, no jacket. It was freezing cold.
The real estate attorney says the officers wouldn't let him call his sister, an immigration attorney. She tells us she didn't get a call until 3 hours later.
What happened to my brother is not reasonable. It's an abuse of power.
Celine says CBP accessed Bashir's email, which contained client information, under duress. Bashir says he declined going to the hospital after experiencing chest pain because he didn't want to start the whole process over again. We asked New Hampshire-based immigration attorney Ron Abramson about this case, which he isn't affiliated with.
Detaining people with no basis is not something America does. This sort of incident raises the question of how far will this go, and is anyone safe?
Selena Tala asking another question.
What message are we sending to people who are legally in this country?
I really felt like a criminal.
More incidents like this are expected with the current changes in trade policy. Due to the trade war, Canadian tourism in the U.S. has dropped. The number far surpasses what was forecast. In March, the number of Canadians driving across the border into the U.S. dropped a staggering 32% over the same time last year. Air traffic for visitors from the Great White North also plummeted 13.5%. The U.S. Travel Association warned in February just a 10% drop in Canadian tourism would cost the U.S. about $2 billion. This follows 2 years of growth in inbound tourism. Canadians historically make up about a quarter of that, making them the largest cohort of foreign visitors to the U.S.
AI has been making waves nationally the past year. You may be sick of hearing that word, but Champlain has announced a partnership that makes it a bit more relevant.
Have you ever used AI to help with schoolwork? That can feel a bit shady, but Champlain's new partnership with AI nonprofit Anthropic actually promotes this kind of experimentation.
Things are moving so fast right now. The best way to learn about AI is to use AI.
On Friday, March 28th, President Hernandez attended Champlain's AI Literacy Day to discuss AI use cases for students and professors. He feels that this is an important skill set for future employees to learn in school.
These are tools that in our first jobs we're going to be asked to engage with and have an understanding of.
The use of AI has skyrocketed across the U.S. in the past year, with new and accessible AI models performing far better than previous versions. One of these new models is called Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and it's made by Anthropic. Their partnership with Champlain gives all students and faculty free access to this model. Claude's introduction has staff and students asking questions, and Allie Muller hosted events at the Literacy Day to address them. She's an implementation specialist at Anthropic, responsible for introducing these kinds of partnerships across the country.
I think Champlain and Anthropic are very aligned on trying to make sure or doing everything that they can to empower individuals to use Gen AI and to use these models and to use it for good.
Anthropic identifies as an AI safety and research company who claim to focus on safety and responsibility above all else. Controversy involving responsible AI use cases have been a hot topic in education, with many schools prohibiting its use entirely. Champlain does not have specifics on AI in their academic honesty policy, leaving it pretty open-ended. While professors reserve the right to restrict its use, President Hernandez thinks how students choose to use AI will determine the success of this partnership.
Artificial intelligence can either be a force multiplier for students, amplifying all the incredible critical thinking and skills that we have, or the worst of all possible worlds is students offload their thinking onto the AI and actually never develop those skills.
To access these new tools for free, go to Claude's website and log in with your Champlain email. Reporting for Champ Chat, I'm Ben Cummings.
Maybe Claude can help me make my resume. Speaking of which, who's hiring? The school year's end is in sight, and seniors and freshmen alike are on the job hunt. Here's a short report for those looking to secure internships and jobs this summer. First on our list is a paid early childhood internship with the One Arts Community School. The internship is located in Burlington and provides hands-on experience with working with the kiddos. You can check out the details of the requirements by looking up the position on Indeed or on the One Arts Community School's website directly.
Next on our list, there are 2 full-time positions open at Gray Media in South Burlington. These positions are for newscast producer and news anchor. You can further inquire by searching for the position on Indeed or by browsing through the Gray Media website or these positions and similar ones. We're saving the best for last. This is a full-time hybrid work position as it's an IT security administrator with NPIVT. This position has some pretty nice benefits, and non-IT grads are encouraged to apply. If this might tickle your fancy, look up the position on Indeed or go straight to the NPIVT website to learn more.
This isn't even close to all the jobs and internships in the greater Burlington area, but we wanted to highlight a few. The City of Burlington posts their open positions on their website, and in this economy, job security is more than fragile.
Don't be afraid to go back to your roots and search. The papers again. Sources like 7 Days VT and had an online job page that are fully updated frequently. Good luck and happy job hunting.
Up next, we take a closer look at competencies. What is that?
Well, we have the expert here to tell us about that when we come back from break. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School. College first-round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
You got a minute?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm sure you've seen the word competency in your idea surveys this year. Today we sit down with Degree Design Lab faculty professor and competency expert Dr. Craig Pippin. Thank you for being here, Craig.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yes. So I just kind of want to start off right off the back, like what are the competencies? Can you give us like a little brief synopsis of what they are?
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, for students in programs, they have program learning outcomes. So there's specific technical skills and analytical skills they're learning. These are the skills that are across everyone at the university, and they're sometimes called things like the soft skills.
Yes.
So communication, analysis, collaboration. We call them in EdSpeak, we call them institutional learning outcomes. So what everybody should get. I think they're the promise that Champlain makes that every student will develop these when they come here.
Okay, so that's a part. And so do they show up in everywhere in our curriculum, or is it just in like certain courses?
Well, in theory, every course should touch upon at least some of the competencies. They're most strongly represented in the core. In fact, the most recent core was built around the competencies. So.
And how has, okay, so I know you kind of talked about a little bit of like those soft skills being what the college promises that every student will come away with, but what else is the goal for doing it this way through the competencies rather than like another way of, you know, receiving those soft skills?
Well, I mean, it's always a question of where do you develop them, how do you develop them, and because they are so important to employers, because we do have employer survey data that says they're in some ways more important. They look for them more. We want people who can communicate and collaborate, even more so than the technical skills. So we like to look at like where are the places where students can develop them. And so all the courses across campus will have some competencies embedded in them. But one of the things we're really thinking about this year, in the last couple of years because of a grant from the Davis Educational Foundation, is where else will students be developing them? So extracurricular activities, student government, for example, student clubs, internships, on-campus jobs, even just being in the dorms in their residential life, they have an opportunity to practice and sort of develop these skills.
So what I guess I'm like hearing from you is that everything in the college in one way or another is kind of backed off against these competencies or backed by these competencies to get the most out of it for students as far as those soft skills are you know, concerned. So why do you think that we have this approach at Champlain specifically? Do you think that it's because we are such like a technical school in that way, especially with like our new push towards tech, cybersecurity, things like that? Like we have a major focus on that. Do you feel like the competencies are maybe necessary because of the technical emphasis, you know, to like balance it out a bit more?
Yeah, and I think calling attention to them is particularly important in a place like Champlain because we have such a strong professional training program that we want students to also be aware of, like, it's not just the technical skills you're going to get. We want you to also be thinking of these. In other schools, it's sort of more broadly, you know, liberal arts schools, you're more likely to think of these things more generally, but mostly in terms of like content knowledge. And we want them to think about these are skills that you develop, just like getting better at Adobe Illustrator or game design programs or whatever. So
can you talk a little bit about like the ECC and like what that role has been and just like the reception from students so far, you know?
Absolutely. So the ECC stands for the Embedding the College Competencies Grant, and a couple of years ago we went and found some outside funding from the Davis Educational Foundation. That's Shaw's supermarket money, if you're wondering where it comes from.
I love Shaw's.
And what in our proposal we said was like, we know that the competencies are present on campus, but a lot of people don't recognize their presence. And so we want students to really have a much better sense of like, oh yeah, that these are here, they're important, and we want students to recognize, be conscious of when they have those opportunities to develop them.
Yeah. So I know that you possibly have something to show us, maybe?
Sure.
These are the competency cards, maybe?
Multiple cards. So just to show you some of these.
They're like Pokemon cards, guys.
That's exactly right.
They're literally like Pokemon cards.
We were thinking we want students to pay attention to these, how can we do it? And somebody came up with the idea in our student design team of Compemon, we're calling them.
That's pretty cool.
Because the idea behind Pokemon, of course, is that they develop over time.
Yes, and just like you're trying to get our students to like develop over time with the competencies.
And level up their skills.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Craig. I really appreciate your time. It's good to see all the ways Champlain is working on expanding students' education and experiences. If you'd like to learn more about each competency, be sure to check out the Champlain College Competency website, which is the name that I just described. Thank you.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Akila.
Up next, We'll highlight a musician on campus who is making waves on the local music scene, and we'll talk about the spring meltdown. Finally, winter is over.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused.
A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Welcome back to the last segment of Champ Chat, and thank you for staying with us. In this segment, we will take a look at some of the creativity that Champlain students have to offer in the last Champ event for the year. In this semester of show producing, we did something different. We partnered with Town Meeting TV to produce all of our shows in their studios, and we've had a great time doing that.
Our professors tasked us with creating content that informs and leaves an impact on our audience. So we produced a variety of shows that does just that. Peace and Chaos is a podcast that highlights how people are coping with the current climate of the country. Every student in the class is unique and has the ability to talk about their passions for hours. So we took those passions and turned them into shows, like Off Your Gourd, a show about Jeff and his passion for sports. Our resident film expert, Donovan, provided scathing critique about Snow White on Weekend at the Movies. And you wouldn't think granola and Vermont had anything in common, but MJ's Top Shelf Show made those connections for us in a very fun way. Gut Punch, by yours truly, is a show about having hard, uncomfortable conversations, and this episode was about child stars. Last but not least, Champ Chat, by Ben and Rama, a show that covers key campus events for the semester. I know a few talented students here who love this partnership. There are many ways to be talented, though. This next story focuses on a specific bassist in our community who has passion started years ago. Whose passion started years ago, sorry. Reporter Arama Alchiderchi interviewed him regarding this passion.
Jace, I'm the bassist for Sundown. So I'm a game sound design major. Sundown started around 6 months to a year ago. It's kind of up in the air of when it actually started, but it was basically a group that Noah Gomberg, who's the drummer, and Tim, who's the guitarist, we all played in this group. They didn't really have a name, but we would just jam together. It was just a bunch of music guys. We ended up introducing Lucas recently, who plays keyboard. We sort of started as this just jam band that just plays down by the lake and sometimes on UVM campus. And now we play at the Grind a lot. And we have some shows coming up on the 12th, April 12th at Radio Bean and April 18th at Arts Riot, which we're really excited for those because those are big venues. I got into music pretty much when I was a kid. My dad's a musician. Him always like going off to play a gig somewhere. Sometimes I would like go along with him and like going to awards shows with him and his group. And it sort of, I was just really kind of in the like musical sphere almost for like a lot of my life because it was just such a big part of the family. I don't know, I know I want to work in like creative audio in some way, whether that's like making music or doing sound effects work and sound design work in the studio or something. That's just, I know that I want to do audio related things. And I definitely think I want to do live music as well on the side. My name is Andres.
Thank you, Rama, for sharing Andres' great talent. Along with being a game sound design major, Andres works at the Champlain Wave radio station, where he creates an eclectic playlist of some great music. Be sure to look out for Andres and his band at the Grind.
This Friday marks the last days of class here at Champlain, and with that comes our annual Spring Meltdown event. Every year, the Student Engagement and Activities Committee organizes and throws a celebratory party for the student body, sending students and staff alike into finals week in the summer with a bang. Christine Kugel, coordinator for student engagement and activities on campus, talked to a reporter about what makes Spring Meltdown so special on campus.
We like to celebrate as much as we can on campus, and I think the end of the year is probably the biggest party, and we get to have a good time and just celebrate all of the accomplishments that our students have done this year.
This year's Spring Meltdown theme is based around the Lorax, so be sure to look out for games and activities based on the Truffle-Luffetrees and Fneed, and maybe even the Lorax himself. Well, everyone, I say with a heavy, heavy heart that this concludes Champ Chat Spring 2025. To some, it's our last Champ Chat, and it wouldn't have happened without Town Meeting TV.
Yes, we are so thankful for Town Meeting TV, for giving us the space to record all of our shows, and for such an amazing staff. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Stephen. And thank you, Travis, for being here all the time for us. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Champ Chat will return this fall, so stay posted for updates. And have a great rest of your day. We will see you in the fall. Bye.